I don't know if you can hear it on my mic, but we're surrounded by geese migrating south. We're here in Treaty 2 territory in Arborg, Manitoba, at the Arborg and District Multicultural Heritage Village. They've been excellent and gracious hosts to Theatre Projects Manitoba a few times this summer now, as we've been creating work in collaboration with members of the Interlake as a part of Chautauqua, the Interlake Trail. Last year in November, two big things happened for me. One, I lost my last grandparent, my grandfather on my mom's side, and I was commissioned by Theatre Projects to make an artistic project as a part of this Chautauqua, the Interlake Trail. I was met with the dilemma. I really didn't know what I was going to make, but I knew that it needed to be in collaboration with folks living here in the Interlake, as well as it needed to reflect them back to themselves. It was one night when my wife explained to me that as we were grieving and thinking back on the loss of my grandfather, that with all four of my grandparents, cooking was a big part of my experience of them. And it jogged a memory for me that in all of the instances when we would cook together, there would be stories and memories that came out that, not that they were reserved only for the times when we would cook, but it seemed that the ritual of the cooking itself jogged those whole memories. So in honor of John and Mary Dick and Julius and Susan Banman, it is my great privilege to present to you four really special community members and three really special foods here on the Recipes That Made Us.
So I hope you know. Oh, I hope you know what you mean to me.
Today we're going to be cooking with Owen Eyolfson. Owen's a hometown boy, having grown up here in Arborg, Manitoba. In fact, he planted a number of the trees here at the Arborg Heritage Village. Owen's the owner of the Arborg Hotel, and the recipe he's teaching us today is so popular at his restaurant that he regularly has folks asking if they can buy jars of it to take home. It's called celery sauce. Celery sauce is a hand-me-down recipe inherited from Owen's long ama with a special spice blend you'd never expect from Icelandic cooking. Owen and I had a most excellent day in the kitchen, and he shared his tips and tricks, the history of celery sauce, and the story of how Owen came to own the Arborg Hotel at 22. But before we get ahead of ourselves, Owen and I must get our aprons on. What would you like to wear today?
I would like to wear the red and black, just because, red and black is like my hotel's colors. You know, some of these, I don't know if they flatter me too much, but...
Well, I think if red and black is kind of the motif, I'll wear the red one. This looks good on you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yours looks good too. You look like, what's the...
Oh, yeah. Rosie?
Rosie, it looks like her headband.
It's funny you say that. I thought Minnie Mouse when...
Oh, Minnie Mouse, yeah.
when I bought this. Yeah.
Absolutely Minnie Mouse.
Owen is right. A polka dot bandana would have totally made my outfit complete. But enough of the fashion and flexing. I'll let Owen tell you some of the history of celery sauce.
Celery sauce was developed by my long ama, which is my great-grandmother, and she was a Vidal from Mesa, which is just about 15 minutes outside of Arborg, right on Lake Winnipeg.
Okay.
And so they had all their produce and everything that they grew in their garden, and everything had to be preserved. So they didn't want anything to go to waste. So then she came up with this recipe to make a sauce that you could pretty much have with everything.
Yep.
And so she used every last thing that she had in the garden that you had to do something with it, because every bit of food helped, especially when you didn't really have a lot of refrigeration or anything. So, and then she passed that down to my ama and my mother, and then my mother passed it down to me. So now I'm making it, and it's a family favorite for sure. The thing that I remember the most is always like bonfire at the beach, having a hot dog cooked over the fire and then putting some celery sauce on it.
You're making my mouth water as we talk here.
Probably hyping it up too much.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, you at the Arborg Hotel,
Yeah.
you guys serve chicken fingers. No joke, I think they're the best chicken fingers, not just in Manitoba, but that I've ever had.
Well, I should have sent some relish with you guys last night when you had them.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So let's clear some of this stuff and
Okay.
let's jump into prep.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Usually start with the cucumbers.
Okay.
So if you want to grab one.
You know, it was nice to learn from someone with experience with the recipe, as Owen gave me his tips and tricks as we broke down the veggies for our celery sauce.
So now if you want to split this in half.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
hot dog?
Lengthwise, yeah.
Hot dog what?
Hot dog weight.
So we cut our cucumbers hot dog wise in the preferred fashion, cleaned them, and then moved on to cutting our peppers hot dog wise as well.
Do you remember the first time you made this recipe, Owen?
Well, the first time I made it, I grew up with it being made, but the first time I made it was probably about 7 years ago. And
Okay.
My sisters both live in Winnipeg,
Okay.
and so my mom was making it, and she's like, you know, I think it's about time that you make it. Yeah, since then I've been doing it with her ever since, and then I've been doing it at the hotel for the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
So, and it's a good bonding experience, you know, to be able to cook with your mother, and especially like recipes that've been handed down from generation to generation.
Yeah, I'm sure. And your mom's lovely too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a super nice lady.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, let's move on to the celery.
Yeah.
Next, we cut the celery and onions, and nothing had to be too fancy about our chopping, because Owen brought a special tool from the restaurant to make our work a little bit easier.
So this is basically just an industrial version of your household food processor.
Okay. Okay.
So you can start putting things in.
Okay.
Before, with my mom, we used to use a hand grinding one. So
Oh,
you'd
really?
actually have to hand do everything.
Oh, jeez.
It took a while, but it was better than chopping it by hand.
You can say that again, Owen.
Yeah, you can do it a little bit faster. So at this point, I'd open it up and take a spatula, just
Okay.
because some things get stuck along the walls.
sure.
You can tell that this is my spatula for making celery sauce because it is stained yellow.
Yeah, sure.
So just kind of push everything down. It doesn't have to be too fine, so I
Okay.
think at this point we're probably good. So you would basically take everything that's in here and just cover it with a fine layer of pickling salt and leave it overnight.
Owen made sure to set us up for success, and he prepared a batch of processed veggies the night before so that we'd be able to film everything in just a single day.
So this is sat overnight, and it's looking and smelling really good. So the pickling salt, it dried out the vegetables a little bit, and then it toughens up some of the cellulose fibers in the vegetables.
Okay.
So it makes them a little bit firmer,
Okay.
which is good for the long cooking time that we're going to be doing.
Okay.
Next was onto the stove, getting the veggies, water, and vinegar up to a boil before Owen showed me how to make this special
And
spice
then
blend.
we'll add about half the vinegar if you want to keep stirring while I'm doing it. It'll all mix in anyways. And now what we're going to do is we're going to want to boil this until it comes almost clear.
Okay.
So our least spicy spice is flour.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely something you absolutely need for this recipe just to make everything come together.
Sure. Probably not too watery.
Yeah. Then we go on to the sugar. So it's just regular sugar.
Okay.
And then celery seed. So this gives a lot of flavor, the
Yeah.
celery seed. And you can smell it right now.
Yeah, I can.
And then mustard seed. So it's just full mustard seed. And then we've got turmeric. So that's why my spatula was completely
sure.
yellow.
Sure.
So it just completely makes everything yellow, as well as the curry. The curry really will give a lot of color to everything.
Okay.
And it's kind of interesting for this being, over a 100-year family recipe. Like they
Sure.
had like some of these spices because, they were living in Nasa at the end of the rail line.
Okay.
So the rail line went up like number 9 highway, and it terminated in Nasa.
Okay.
So they would have had to have ordered the spices through the train to come to the general store and get it to make this sauce for their family for the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's not like me today where I might go in the spice aisle of the grocery store and be like, I've never tried this before, I'll
Yeah.
add it to this. It'd be quite a deliberate decision.
They would have had to place an order and
Okay.
get it sent on a train from Winnipeg.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. So we mix all of this together and we make
Yeah.
A spice mixture like this.
A big spice mixture. So there's actually quite a bit that goes in. You always have to just do it to feel and to look and to everything. Like,
Okay.
yeah, you'll see. You'll see
There's a lot of
later
intuition
how
goes
much you
into
have
it
to
at this
just
point.
know, and you can feel how thick it is, and you can see the color, the perfect green, and
Okay.
you know. So I'll show you where the perfect green is later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It smells good though.
Oh, does it ever?
Yeah.
And it's back to the stove to keep mixing and find that elusive, perfect green.
And the peppers have started to cook a little bit. They've
Oh, sure.
become a little bit translucent.
Okay.
And then, now that we got it up to a rolling boil, we can start adding in our mixture.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to stir a lot because there's the sugar and everything in here. And I'm just gonna broadcast it in so that it doesn't get clumped up.
Okay.
So this is usually a two-person job. It can be done with one person, but it's a lot easier
Sure,
to.
I can see it makes it a lot more helpful. And we're gonna keep it at this high heat?
We're gonna keep it at this high heat because as soon as we put this in, it's gonna basically stop boiling instantly.
Okay. Okay.
And it's already starting to change color a little bit.
Yeah, I can see the texture's changing too.
The texture's really gonna change. So you're gonna get a really good arm workout. So we'll be switching off and switching arms and
Oh, I'm sweating.
yeah.
Oh, it smells great.
It'll smell your whole house up for the day.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
While my pride didn't want to share the whisk, it is a lot of work stirring celery sauce. So Owen and I took turns.
Yeah, once you see the color, you know it. So it's after doing it a couple of, a couple of times, then you really start to know. So the first couple times I did it, then Mom would tell me, okay, that's it, it's good to go. And I was like, okay. But now I know, like, just by doing it by myself multiple times, like, exactly when it's going to be ready.
Could have learned through trial and error, but some of it is very much an oral tradition handed down. That it's like, oh no, that's what you're looking for,
Yeah.
and then you've got to store that in your memory.
Yeah, your sense memory, and
Yeah.
it's just like right there, and you're like, yeah, that's how thick it is with the whisk, that's how the color should
sure.
look. But it's amazing, just like the smell that we have right now. It just brings me back to every fall when we were making this, and
Sure.
just right back to going to Emma's kitchen and she was making it, or my mom's, and now my kitchen. Both sides of my family are Icelandic, or all sides of my family.
Okay.
But winters were harsh, and you didn't really have refrigeration, so you really had to make preserves and sauces and stuff that could be going into the cellar so that they could have it for the winter and look forward for their family for the whole seasons. And like celery sauce really starts in the spring when we plant in the garden.
Oh sure.
And you gotta grow the cucumbers, you gotta get the peppers, you gotta look after that garden all year round. And
Yeah, you got to tend to it,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
There's
And-
a lot of love that goes into this.
yeah,
too.
it takes months and months to make it, and then it lasts for a year or 2 years. It can last a long time. So it really points to just necessity as well as using everything.
Owen's inherited tradition and a great recipe in celery sauce, and he keeps building on those traditions in his kitchen at the Eldhus restaurant, at his business at the Arborg Hotel.
So I bought the Arborg Hotel in 2008. It had burnt down in 2006. Actually, September 15th, 2006, it burnt down.
Oh wow.
And I opened it September 15th, 2009, so it's my 12-year anniversary today.
What?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, so it's been 12 years since I've been open, and yeah, it's going good.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Um,
I figured I needed to open on the anniversary of the fire
Sure.
because I like tradition, as you can see.
I feel bad I didn't bring a gift to celebrate the anniversary.
Oh, well, you didn't know.
Yeah, 12 years?
12 years.
Way to go.
Yeah.
You look young enough that you must have been a baby when you started the hotel then.
I was 22.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was in university, and opportunity came to come back and move back to Arborg, and my friend's mother was selling the business, and it was an empty lot. So I decided, I'd move back to my hometown where my roots are and all my family and all my ancestors have been for the last 100 and some years. So
Wow.
yeah.
Owen, this is smelling great. It looks great. Is this the perfect green you were telling me about?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that we've arrived at the perfect green, it's time to get on to my favorite part, the tasting.
Is it something? When is the best eating of the celery sauce?
Depends who you ask.
Yeah.
I like it all the time, but if it sits for a year or two, like Some people like it after a year.
This is vintage 2020.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a good year.
Yeah?
No,
It's a hard year, I think, for a lot of people.
not if you ask anyone on the internet.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Can I open it?
Yeah, for sure. Oh my God.
So good. Yeah.
So we'll dig in just the sauce, and then just imagine what you can put it on.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers. Wow. Do we have more spoons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can take this home.
Okay. It's a little sweet, it's a little salty. I don't even need something to eat this with.
No, but it's good on everything. But
Wow.
yeah, it's not your regular relish, that's for sure.
I understand now why this is such a hot thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get people ordering it like as a side of gravy. They'll get a side of celery sauce.
Wow. Before I get lost, Owen, I want to give a really heartfelt thank you.
Well, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I know I was a stranger who was calling you, 6 months ago when I first was pitching this to you. It's been so warm to me every time I've been up here in Arborg. You're a great listener, you're great company, you're a great entrepreneur in what you're doing in the town here. I see you as a role model in some ways. I've learned things from you by getting to spend time with you this last 6 months.
Well, I'm not just red because of the heat from the cooking, but
Sure.
now you're making me blush.
I'm glad. I think you're deserving of it. So happy anniversary
Thank you.
Of the hotel.
Thank you.
What a staple. I'll be eating there later today.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing the celery sauce. And I know that my wife's going to insist that we make some of our own because she's going to love this.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll send you the recipe.
Great. Cool.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, different than I expected, in a good way. So that concluded our day with Owen Eyolfson. Owen sent me home with a couple of jars that are almost gone already. If you want to make celery sauce at home, and trust me, you do, we put the recipe in the description below. Thanks for joining us on the Recipes That Made Us.
Yeah, it's different than you'd expect, eh?
Yes.